Get ready, guys, as UFC 286 returns to London, England for Edwards vs. Usman 3. This event is going to be insane. And with Usman winning the first fight by decision and Edwards winning the second fight by a devastating head kick knockout, this is a fight you definitely don't want to miss. So stay tuned for my fight predictions to find out who I'm picking from the very first fight of the night all the way to the main event. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to share my fight of the night. Also, I'm going to share my fight prediction results from a previous card, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with my fight predictions and the future videos that I'm going to play. Thanks for watching. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is going to be my fight predictions for UFC 286, Edwards vs. Usman 3. They're going to close out the trilogy fight here. It's returning to London, England. There's 14 bouts on this card so far. Some fights got canceled, some rebooked, so let's get into it. All right. And if you guys want, I'm just going to give you one reminder before we do start. I'm going to share my predictions from the Krylov versus Spann card and the results of my picks, just to kind of show you guys how well I did or how bad I did on the fight card that already happened. It ended up being that Krylov and Spann actually got canceled, but the co-main ended up becoming the main event. But that fight card, I'm going to share my picks with you at the end of this video. So if you're interested in that, stick around for that. If not, let's get into it. Okay, so first we have Chris Duncan versus Omar Morales. So Omar Morales, UFC vet, he's probably had over 5 fights now. Chris Duncan, he is making his debut. He fought on the Contender Series, which was an interesting fight against this guy, Charlie Campbell. He was getting lit up. He probably got dropped 2 or 3 times at least in that first round. He was looking like he was probably going to get finished, but he ended up planting his feet, threw a really nice right cross, like sent this guy like in the dream world, and then he literally landed one more big shot on the ground and put the guy right out. It was really nice. With that being said, he was getting clipped and getting caught a lot. His guard's very open. He does plant his feet and throws really hard shots, it seemed like, with everything that he did throw. Very dangerous. Like he was hurt, and it looked like he was about to get finished, and then he knocked this guy out cold. So, hits very hard. Like I said, he keeps his guard very open, so he was getting hit with a lot of shots. So I didn't really see the defense there. Now I haven't watched these other fights. I did lose to this guy here, who is a beast. He's a really good striker on Contender Series a couple years ago. So for this one here, so he fought Charlie Campbell, beat him. Didn't look great, but I mean the knockout was really nice. So he's fighting Omar Morales. I don't think Omar Morales is going to be as aggressive as his opponent on the Contender Series. I think Omar Morales will play like a more patient game with him. So he did just lose to Uros Medic, but Uros Medic is a beast. Lost to Jonathan Pierce. He's really good as well. And before that, he beat Shane Young by decision. So, I mean, he has been active, but he is on a 2-fight losing streak. So his back is up against the wall here, and he can't really afford to lose another one. That being said, Chris Duncan, like before he won that fight, he didn't look the best, but it was only a round. So, I mean, it's hard for me to also gauge on how good he actually is. I mean, Omar Morales went 3 rounds with Giga Chikadze, which is pretty impressive. Beat Gabriel Benitez. Like he was actually like looking like a promising prospect up until like his last few fights. He has looked a little more hesitant in his last few fights, so that I'm kind of worried about. I'm hoping he's not too hesitant. But just based on experience and like who these guys have fought, I think from what I've seen, Omar Morales looks like the more technically better fighter, just from what I've seen. So I'm gonna have to pick Omar Morales on this one, guys. Okay. And stick around to the end of the video as well, because I'm gonna share my fight of the night pick for this card, along with those results from the other card there, the Krylov versus Span card. So Sam Patterson versus Yanal Ashmoz. So both these guys making their UFC debut. I believe he won on Contender Series. The guy on, I think he lost the first round to this guy. Definitely. Second round he came out and just kind of was all over him on the ground. This guy kind of got gassed out and he got a submission. From what I see here, he's got quite a few submissions on his win column. He's only lost once back in 2017. With that being said, I mean, he's super long. He's like 6'3", and he didn't look like the greatest, to be honest. He didn't look the best at using his range. I mean, with that being said, that guy was pretty tall. I think Omar Morales will be a little bit, or sorry, not Omar. He's definitely a lot shorter. He's like 5'9". So this guy here, watched his fight on the PFL Challenger Series, which was the beginning of 2022 versus Dennis Hughes. Before that, it doesn't really look like he has guys with a lot of experience. So I mean, he had one amateur grappling match and not a ton of experience to go by. Dennis Hughes, he beat this guy. It seemed like he was just kind of trying to take him down, ground and pounding him. His ground and pound looked pretty decent. Won a decision against this guy. I do think Sam Patterson's going to have a huge reach advantage in this fight, and hopefully he can use it a little better than what I've seen in this fight. But I think he should be able to. This guy was fairly tall as well, so it's not like I had a huge advantage against them. So I am gonna lean towards. I'm gonna pick Sam Patterson for this one, guys. Okay. So then we go on to Christian Leroy Duncan versus Dusko Todorovic. And Dusko Todorovic is a UFC veteran. He's had quite a few fights. Christian Leroy Duncan is making his debut. He was the Cage Warriors middleweight champion. So Dusko Todorovic. Let's see here. So his last win was Jordan Wright, who just got cut from the UFC. So not really the greatest. He got knocked out really bad by Chidian Jaquani, which was a really nice knockout. Before that, beat Maki Pitolo, then lost two before that. So he's kind of has his ups and downs. He beats guys that are kind of on their way out or not really well known, and then he loses to guys that are a little more well known. So Christian Leroy Duncan, he's a pretty big dude, 7-0. This guy here was a lot shorter than him, but he did look pretty good in this fight. Looked pretty good. This guy here, he beat by flying knee, who was an undefeated fighter. He does have a long amateur career, which made me kind of want to pick him a little more. If he didn't have so many amateur fights, he doesn't have the most pro fights, but he is undefeated. He has a ton of amateur experience, and he has a pretty good amateur record overall. I think like 17 or 18-5. So it's pretty crazy. He did look good. I feel like he will be good enough to beat Dusko Todorovic. So I'm gonna pick him for this fight. Christian Leroy Duncan is who I'm picking. Okay. So next fight, Jack Shore versus Makwan Amirkhani. So Jack Shore, I believe, is making his featherweight debut. He's had all of his fights at bantamweight. His last loss was to Ricky Simone. Before that, he's beaten everybody he's fought. With that being said, he's been in the UFC for quite a while. Don't know who this guy is. Aaron Phillips, not very well known. Hunter Azure, I know who he is, but beat him by split decision, so it was a close fight. he's actually going to be on the new Ultimate Fighter that's coming out. I'm going to do a video on that as well, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to make my predictions for the Ultimate Fighter. So that'll be interesting, and kind of do a breakdown of all the fighters and then make my picks on who I think is going to win the season. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for that too. That's coming. So we have Ricky Simone, who he lost to. Sorry, went off on a tangent there a bit, but that's kind of some news that I'll release right now. So Makwan Amirkhani is his debut at 145. I mean, Ricky Simone is a beast, so he lost to him. This guy has this picture with his ladies. Pretty funny. 17-8. He has his ups and downs as well. Mike Grundy beat by Anaconda. Lost to Lerone Murphy, who's 10-0. Jonathan Pierce. For this one, I'm just kind of wondering, like, how is Jack Shore going to look at featherweight? Because he's fought at bantamweight his whole career. I'm wondering, was he cutting too much weight? He doesn't look like a really big guy, so I'm kind of surprised. With that being said, I do feel like Makwan has fought way tougher competition. I mean, and he's been fighting in the UFC, let's see here, since 2015. So he started on a 3-fight win streak, won his first like 3, lost Arnold Allen by split decision, who's a beast. Lost to Shane Burgos, another beast. Barbosa, another beast. Camuela Kirk, Lerone Murphy. So like the list goes on of kind of like really good fighters still that he has lost to, where Jack Shore really hasn't fought anybody to that level. The only person that he has fought is Ricky Simone. Timur Valiev is really good as well. Ludovit Shalowin's pretty good. Hunter Azure is pretty good. So all these guys, like pretty much his last 3-4 fights are more well known. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna actually lean towards, even though he doesn't have a lot of wins as of late. Like he's had 1 in his last 5. I'm gonna lean towards Makwan Amirkhani for this one, guys. I know Jack Shore has a really good record, but I'm wondering how he's gonna do with the size difference. So I don't know if it's gonna pan out for him well, but we'll see. I mean, he is good, could always win, but I'm gonna pick Makwan Amirkhani for this. Okay, so Mohammed Mokaev versus Jafel Filho. So Mohammed Mokaev, most of us know, is a savage. I think he's like 22 or 23-0 amateur, 8-0 pro. Yeah, so it's pretty insane. I mean, a lot of guys don't have crazy records that he was fighting, but still a lot of experience. He actually did show like some holes in his last game. Malcolm Gordon actually kind of caught on his back at one point, had a rear naked choke sunk in, but it's like kind of near the end of the round. But Malcolm Gordon actually kind of put him in a couple difficult spots. But I mean, at the end of the day, he still ended up tapping out Malcolm Gordon. But it was interesting to see. And like he was getting tired, like in this fight. So I think he said something about being sick after, but I don't know. I have no idea on that. So Jafel Filho, this guy was on Contender Series, won his fight on Contender Series by like a TKO, left hook, ground strikes. This guy was pretty good. He beat Vinicius Salvador, who's really good striker. This guy is definitely pretty well-rounded. It's got pretty good striking, good grappling. So, I mean, he did look pretty good overall. If there is a lot of underdog, depending on how big of an underdog this guy is going to be against Mokaev, I'm kind of curious to see what the betting lines are for that. Because he didn't look like he looked pretty good. That being said, just based on history and everything here, I am going to pick Mohammed Mokaev for sure. on that one. Yeah, I gotta go with Mohammed Mokaev. Nobody's beaten him yet. But I mean, part of me is thinking like this guy could do pretty decent. He's really good on the ground, so it's gonna be interesting to see what Mokaev's game plan is with him because he looked pretty good on the feet, looked pretty good on the ground. So I'm kind of curious where Mohammed Mokaev plans to exploit him. Maybe just try and gas him out and get him late with a submission, or just win a decision by just kind of grinding him out for 3 rounds. So that'll be interesting. So I'm going to pick Mohammed Mokaev, guys. Okay, so then we're on to Veronica Macedo versus Juliana Miller. Veronica Macedo, I believe she originally retired because she was having concussion syndromes or something. So I think she's making a return. I think it's been a few years at least. Yeah, since 2020. So it's 3 years almost exactly. Literally, it'll be 4 days past 3 years. So she lost to Bea Malecki, who's a featherweight. That being said, so she fought at bantamweight. Bea Malecki might have fought at bantamweight, but she is shorter, 5'4". She beat Polyana Viana, lost by rear naked choke to Jillian Robertson. Yeah, so I mean, she's only won one of her 5 fights in the UFC against Polyana Viana. Other than that, she has lost all of her fights against pretty good competition. So Juliana Miller was on The Ultimate Fighter. She won The Ultimate Fighter 30, the most previous season. This girl was actually one of the reasons why the season actually, like, it was pretty much her fights that were the exciting ones. So other than that, the season was pretty lackluster in my opinion. But this girl actually was pretty exciting to watch fight. Very tough game. Not like crazy good striking, but like just a grinder, kind of like just doesn't care, right? Like super tough. Really good grappling when she gets people to the ground. Very aggressive with her grappling, trying to get finishes. So let's see here. So yeah, like on The Ultimate Fighter, this fight versus Claire Guthrie, that was an awesome fight. That was probably the best fight of the season. It's back and forth, competitive fight, but she looked really good in this fight. She did get hit a lot with a lot of hard shots, but she powered through it. And this girl here, Caitlin Neal, it's kind of nice to see her get beat because she was talking crap. And then Juliana actually tapped her out with a nice Kimura. And then ground and pound round 3 versus Brogan Walker in the finale. She won that. So she doesn't have a lot of experience, but she does have some amateur fights. So, but she did look really good. Veronica Macedo hasn't been in for 3 years. So for this one here, guys, I am going to have to pick Juliana Miller to win. Won't be surprised if she gets a submission as well, to be honest. Really good on the ground. Okay, so then we have Jai Herbert versus Ludovit Klein. This one was pretty tough for me to pick. Even though Ludovit Klein is a beast, Jai Herbert's a really good striker, really long too. Ludovit Klein's giving up a lot of height here. So it's kind of the stylistic matchup. And I did pick, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just looking at my picks. So yeah, I did pick in this one, but I was going back and forth on this one, guys. So Ludovit Klein beat Mason Jones. I think this was a big thing for me. He beat Mason Jones, who's super tough. Split decision with Devontae Smith. Lost to Landwehr, Mike Trezano. For that, crushed Shane Young. Jai Herbert just won a close decision. Like it wasn't a crazy. I mean, it wasn't super close, but he beat Kyle Nelson by decision. Lost to Ilya Topuria, who in that first round he actually almost finished Ilya Topuria. At least I know he dropped him. This guy is really good on the feet. Jai Herbert. It's really has really nice striking, super long. I feel like, yeah, Like this guy could have a lot of potential just with his striking, as long as he can just kind of keep it at a clinch, keep it at striking range, and I feel like even like when he fought Topuria, like he almost finished him. Like it was pretty impressive, and then just got caught with a big punch. So Ludovit Klein, 19-4. Uh, my heart is telling me to pick Jay Herbert just because I know he's super long and I know he could probably hurt Ludovit Klein, but just based on who they've beaten and kind of like how Jay Herbert, he didn't look the best in that Kyle Nelson fight. Like I feel like I thought he was gonna probably finish Kyle Nelson to be honest, and he didn't. So for this one, I think I've been going back and forth, but I am going to pick Ludovit Klein, guys. Okay, so next fight, Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. So Casey O'Neill's undefeated, 9-0. Her last fight, I believe, was to Roxanne Modafferi. That was Roxanne's retirement fight. Before that, she beat Antonina Shevchenko, Shayna Dobson. So, I mean, she's won her 4 fights in the UFC. Before that, she's got a little bit of an amateur record here. Everybody's super high on her. I mean, she's good, but honestly, she didn't look as good as I thought against Roxanne Modafferi. Like, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be originally. So, I mean, I think people would probably. I'm curious to see the underdog betting odds on this as well, because Jennifer Maia is actually really good. And she does have 30 fights, where Casey O'Neill has like 9 pro fights. I mean, and this girl's, if you look at her last losses, pretty much all of her losses, Liz Carmouche, Kaylin Chukagian twice by decision, all by decision. Valentina, 5-round decision, where she actually won a round against Valentina. And then Manon Fiorot. So look at who she's losing to, right? And before that, like 6-7 years ago, then obviously it's a different story. But even just over the last 5 years, the only people that she's lost to are like really good female fighters. So she looked really good against Marina Moroz. She's very well rounded, grappling, striking. Casey O'Neill's pretty well rounded, but honestly, I don't see Casey O'Neill beating her for some reason. I just don't. Even though she's undefeated, I feel like after seeing her win a close split decision to Roxanne Modafferi, I feel like this is Jennifer Maia's for the taking. I think sometimes people are really set on the hype and the younger and the 9-0, but I mean, she looked good in her last fight, so I'm gonna go based on that. This one I'm gonna pick Jennifer Maia for. I'm actually gonna look into this one. I'm assuming that Casey O'Neill will probably be a favorite, and if she is, I'll probably be betting some money on this. Okay. So then we have Jake Hadley versus Malcolm Gordon. This will be an exciting fight. So I think the game plan for Jake Hadley would be to strike. He's a good striker. I think the game plan for Malcolm Gordon would be to kind of mix up everything, try to get this to the ground, and use his jiu-jitsu. That being said, he's pretty well rounded. Let's see here. So Jake Hadley's one loss was to Alan Nascimento, who is from Charles Oliveira's team. Really good. Oh, he's very well rounded. He just pretty much overwhelmed Jake Hadley for 3 rounds, mixed it up, the striking, the grappling, just mixed it up so well. And he's a very good grappler. So I think the way you fight Jake Hadley is kind of how Alan Nascimento did if you want to beat him. You do have to mix up the grappling, the striking, and make it more of a grappling match. You don't want to strike with Jake Hadley for 3 rounds. I mean, so even though he did tap out Carlos Candelario, but Candelario was more of a striker for sure. You could tell. Malcolm Gordon just lost to Mohammed Mokaev. I believe he's 2-3 in the UFC right now. Yeah, so he lost to Amir Albazi. Sumadarji, who's a beast. Both these guys are beasts, Amir Albazi and Sumadarji. So he got two really tough fights for his first two fights. So, and then he beat Francisco Figueiredo, who's definitely not like the best in the division, not one of the top guys. And then Dennis Bondar, he beat him. He looked good starting out, but it was super quick. And then it was like a weird, fluky injury that happened. So, I mean, that's kind of hard to gauge, but he did look good starting out for the short period of time that fight. He looked really good in the Mohammed Mokaev fight. Like I said, he gave Mohammed Mokaev. It seems like each fight he is getting better in the UFC. He's probably getting a little more comfortable. That being said, he did get caught with this armbar, which there was like literally 40 seconds left. I was a little bit surprised that he got caught with that. So for this one, guys, I think Jake Hadley will be able to keep it on the feet for the most part, or at least get it back up to the feet and kind of just beat him, edge him out on the striking. So I'm going to pick Jake Hadley for this one. Okay. So then we're to the main card, Gunnar Nelson versus Bryan Barbarena. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it up. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Okay, so we have Gunnar Nelson versus Bryan Barbarena. So Gunnar Nelson just returned against Takashi Sato, I believe it was. Yeah, and before that, he lost to Leon Edwards split decision, Gilbert Burns decision. But those were in 2019, so that's quite a while ago as well. Takashi Sato, long time, then he returned, won a decision. Bryan Barbarena just lost to Rafael dos Anjos, I believe, by rear naked choke or something. Yeah, rear naked choke. Before that, he was on a three-fight win streak. Darian Weeks, Matt Brown by split decision, and then Robbie Lawler standing TKO. So kind of fighting veterans, definitely fighting veterans in his last three fights. Dos Anjos was easily able to get him down. That's kind of the thing that makes me worried about this fight with Gunnar for Barbarena. Gunnar, I think, will, if Dos Anjos got him down that easily, I feel like Gunnar will get him to the mat. And if Gunnar gets Barbarena to the mat, I think it'll be very similar story to what happened with Dos Anjos, where Barbarena has the advantage, definitely in the striking. I don't even know, because it's hard to say because it's a different style of striking for sure. Barbarena is definitely more aggressive, just basic Muay Thai boxing, like kind of just a mixed MMA striking style, where Gunnar Nelson's more like a karate style, blitz in and out. He'll blitz and pretty good at keeping distance, hands down a lot, kind of chin up in the air. Like, that being said, he is sneaky sometimes with his striking as well. I think he should be smart enough to get this fight to the Gunnar fight's really smart. So I think Gunnar should be smart enough to get this fight to the ground, either get a submission second or third round, or win a decision. So I'm going to pick Gunnar Nelson for this one. Okay. Then we have Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina. So Joanne Wood, I believe, is on a couple fight win streak here, or loss streak, I mean. Yeah, so she's lost to Jennifer Maia, Caitlin Chukagian, Lauren Murphy, Talia Santos, Alexa Grasso. Yeah, so like they're not giving her easy fights. Those are all tough fights. Every single one of those. Beat Andrea Lee. It's a good win. And then Jessica I by decision. Now that being said, her clear weakness is on the ground. People get her down. It's pretty much a wrap if they have good grappling. Her striking, on the other hand, is really good with teeps, really good straight shots. She's a really good Muay Thai style striker. So she's really good on the feet. She's 37. And let's see here. Luana Carolina. So she lost to, I think she lost that third round spinning elbow knockout against Molly McCann. That was her last fight, I believe. So let's see. Yeah, so Molly McCann. Before that, she beat Lupita Godinez, who's really good. Poliana Botello, split decision. Lost to Ariane Lipsky. Yeah, so I mean, a loss to Molly McCann. I feel like if Molly McCann could get her done on the feet against this girl, I feel like Joanne Wood should be able to get it done. Um, Could see it going to a decision, but I for this one here, I'm gonna pick Joanne Wood. Okay, so then we're on to Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze just beat Jack Hermanson with some really nice. It was like a calf cutter, punches from back control. Oh, okay, yeah, no, he had him in like a calf cutter, and then I think he went stomach down and just landed some bombs when he kind of had Jack Hermanson flattened out on the canvas. So he is on. His last loss was to Trevin Giles, 2021. He's on a 4-fight win streak. It looked good against Hermanson. That was definitely his biggest step up in competition. Marvin Vettori is currently on a one-loss streak. Beat Paulo Costa before that. Whitaker, Adesanya pretty much just loses those top 2 or 3 guys. Other than that, he literally beats up everybody else that he fights. So I mean, that being said, I'm gonna have to pick Marvin Vettori on this one for sure. Let me know in the comments what fights you guys are looking forward to most on this card. I mean, the next one's one to talk about for sure. Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. This will be a great fight. 2 strikers, definitely. I know they say Gaethje started with wrestling, but I mean, he's a striker. He doesn't come in to wrestle, he comes in to strike. So does Fiziev. Definitely different styles of striking a little bit. Justin Gaethje, definitely everything power for the most part. Really heavy leg kicks, really heavy boxing, really nice uppercut. Fiziev, really fast kicks, really fast, hardened body kicks specifically. He definitely invests to the body early with his kicks. His hands are definitely, I wouldn't say as powerful as Gaethje's, but they're definitely, I would say, a little more fast, definitely faster than Gaethje, I would say. And I'd say Gaethje's probably has the power advantage. Fiziev's very technical striker, looks really good on the feet. Looked good against Dos Anjos, beat him by left hook, 5th round. I mean, he hasn't lost since 2019 to Magomed Mustafayev. So, I mean, this will be a good challenge for him. It's a big step up. If he beats Gaethje, he's right in the talks for a title fight for sure. So, it'll be an interesting one. Gaethje, I think his last loss was to Charles Oliveira. Yeah, so Charles Oliveira before that beat Michael Chandler in that 3-round war. Lost to Khabib. Before that, he was on a 4-fight win streak. So I mean, if you kind of look at who he's beaten, Edson Barbosa, James Vick, Donald Cerrone, kind of all like they're all not really in the best position as of right now. Tony Ferguson. I mean, that was an impressive win. Michael Chandler, that was an impressive win. But when he fights these guys that are like, there's that extra little bit of like when they're extra technical, like Oliveira, super technical striker, really technical on the ground. Even though he did catch Oliveira with a big shot, it could be obviously that was just domination. But I feel like Fiziev should be able to fight smart enough if Gaethje comes in trying to brawl. I feel like Fiziev should be able to exploit that and some big shots. He'll invest to the body early because Gaethje throws power in everything, unless he does kind of hone that in and fights a little more. I don't know with Gaethje, it's hard to say, right? Because if he fights too conservative, then he's kind of abandoning what got him to the dance in the first place. Like That being said, how he fought Tony Ferguson was like a perfect performance from Justin Gaethje. But for this one here, I've been on the fence about it just because I know how dangerous Gaethje is. But I'm gonna pick Rafael Fiziev to win this one. Okay, so then we have Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. So let's see here. So Leon Edwards, he's still on a big win streak. I mean, 20-3, great record. 31 years old, right in his prime. I mean, there's still definitely room to grow. But I mean, like, look at this win streak. His last loss was to Usman in 2015, and then Usman's literally first loss since whenever was just literally to probably since his first or second fight in his career. He just lost to him. So we have, yeah, I mean, pretty impressive. Looked really good against Diaz in the 5 rounds. Dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson. I mean, Usman, he definitely didn't look the greatest against the whole fight. First round was pretty impressive. He took him down, actually kind of beat him on the ground. Then that head kick in the 5th round when Usman just started kind of coasting was very impressive. I think it's almost like Leon Edwards was hesitant to throw and like really take any chances up until that 5th round. It was very weird. I like you could clearly see that Leon Edwards has the better striking, definitely against Usman. Usman definitely would have the grappling advantage, but he was definitely hesitant. Like, so I'm hoping like because he did get this knockout in the 5th round, that this changes how his mindset for the second fight because he's capable of hurting Usman. Like I think, and that's the other thing too. And on the flip side of that coin, you got Usman who just got like slept completely from this. So like how is that going to affect him coming into this main event? Like I mean, I know he's mentally strong and everything, but I feel like that's not really something you come back from without at least it being in the back of your mind. You'll definitely have a different respect for Leon Edwards' power, knowing that he can put you to sleep like that with one head kick. Like pretty insane to think about. Just the whole dynamic of the fight makes it super interesting. So Usman's his path to victory, definitely grapple, get him against the fence, even just get him up against the fence, kind of like he did with Tyron Woodley. Try and go to the body a lot, really gas out and take Leon Edwards' gas tank. You really have to try and work on that in the 5-round fight. Really get it, like, doesn't want to get taken down like he did in the 1st round, the last fight. Kind of changed the dynamic because then you're playing catch up right off the bat. Leon Edwards, his game plan, don't go to the ground, just stop takedowns. Definitely throw more strikes this time. Like I'm not saying go crazy and do things that will risk you getting taken down, but that being said, like definitely use your jab more. Use like your basic fundamentals that are super strong. Let go of the trigger a little more. Make sure, because if not, like Usman would have won this fight if it went to decision. So he can't rely on landing that head kick again 100%. And hopefully he doesn't fall in love with trying to just get that head kick. I'm pretty sure he won't. He's super smart striker. So I think he will take his time, be patient with it. But it's a fine line of being too patient and a fine line of like you have to still throw too, otherwise, because he doesn't want to lose rounds like he did in the first fight. He needs to at least edge out the rounds to make it at the end of like going into the 5th round, you're like, okay, it could be 2-2 or not. Oh, if it goes past this round, he's definitely losing. So I think he'll know that. He'll have a lot more confidence now knowing that he knocked him out. I think he'll throw a lot more. I think Usman will, I think as Leon Edwards will literally have just gotten better at stopping takedowns, worked more on his wrestling, just and kept sharpening up his striking. So the longer he works on that, I feel like Usman won't be able to close the gap as much on the striking as Edwards will with the wrestling, because I just don't like It's just different. So for this one here, guys, I'm gonna pick Leon Edwards. I think it will probably go 5 rounds. I don't know if he'll get a finish this round. I think it would be crazy if he did finish Usman twice. That being said, I do see him winning. I think I see it being a closer fight than the first one. I think Usman was clearly winning that first fight. I do think going into this 5th round of this fight, it will be a lot closer. But I see Leon Edwards winning this fight, guys. It'll be very impressive if Usman can come back after that and win this fight. That'd be pretty insane. But if anybody can do it, he can. He's got a crazy strong mindset. So Leon Edwards for the main event, guys. So now that you guys have stuck around to the end, hopefully, for those of you that have, I'm going to share my fight of the night. And without a doubt, I mean, got some good fights top to bottom here. But without a doubt, it's going to have to be Gaethje versus Fiziev. I think that'll be fight of the night. 100% will be the fight of the night. Let me know in the comments what your fight of the night is. So now that you've came to the end of the video, I'm going to also share with you my fight results from the Krylov versus Spann fight picks from that fight card couple weeks ago. So I'll share those with you guys. So here are the picks that I made. Now, out of the picks that I made, 3 of the fights got canceled. So as you can see here, I just put cancel beside them. Anybody that I highlighted in green, that means that's who I chose for these fights. And then, so I'll just go through them quick. So Ryan Spann Krylov got canceled. Andre Muniz lost to Brendan Allen. That actually messed up a parlay for me. I had a 4-fight parlay, and that was the only one I needed at the end, and I actually lost on that one. Other than that, I had all the other 3 fights right. So then you have Augusto Sakai beat Dontel Mays, Mike Mallet. I got that one right. And then Tatiana Suarez got that one right. Jordan Levitt got that one. These 2 got canceled. Rafael Alves lost that decision to Nurullo Aliyev. Kind of played the grappling game, so I'm not surprised. Jasmine Jasvidius looked really good. Beat Gabriel Fernandez. Charles Johnson lost this by a split decision. Super close fight. I thought it could have went either way. It was a split decision, so I mean, that one actually messed up a parlay for me as well. If I would have got that one, I would have got another parlay. So then we have Trevor Peek, who won by decision. And then we have Joe Selecki, who also won by submission. So at the end of the day, I picked 10 fights and I picked 7 out of 10 correct. Okay, guys, let me know if you enjoyed that, if you want me to keep putting out my picks from previous cards, my results. And I mean, you can always go back and watch this video. I know I wrote it in here, so people think, oh, I might be able to change this. But if you go back and see when I actually created the video, these are the picks that I made inside of that video. So feel free to go back and watch that, check it out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the videos, and I will be having more content coming out soon. So thanks for watching, guys.